We are blessed to be with you and so excited. Tonight, we are going to cover the shift. And you guys, I know as I share my story tonight, you've been invited here because someone knows, cares about you, and maybe you're looking for a massive shift in your life. We know that the world has shifted today, and we're going to just talk with you about the four big shifts we've seen and really the things that people are desiring as they're looking at not only their health, but their income, their future. And so, you guys, tonight you have the really great blessing of listening to not only myself, but Jamie and Ray, executive consultants with LifeVantage. They're going to share their story tonight, but I'm going to share just my story here very briefly. This is my husband, Nick, and my two boys, Dylan and Asher. And I'm blessed to say that we said yes to LifeVantage over a decade ago. In fact, we're getting ready to celebrate our 15th year with this incredible company. And when LifeVantage fell into our lap, I felt like it was divine appointment. I know some people like to call it destiny, but Nick and I were really praying for an answer at the time. It's interesting, but my two boys here were pretty young. Asher, I believe, was about 1.5 years old. Dylan was just about 4, almost 5. And you guys, I had been in the mortgage industry and this was my background. It was our primary source of income. I had started my own company when I was 23, and then when the housing market crashed, we lost everything overnight. Literally, when I say our paycheck went away overnight, it was a very hard lesson to learn. My husband's background is in the chef world. He has a passion for food and for cooking. But for those of you guys in the chef world, you guys know that a lot of the times they're overworked and underpaid. And that's truly where my husband sat. And not only did my paycheck go away, but we were really looking at our future. And when I saw the potential to really partner with LifeVantage, when I saw not only just the medical breakthrough that we have with our products, how they're so set apart, because I'd been an entrepreneur since I was 15, I had this feeling in my bones that this is where we could plant our flag and look forward to the future. And I'm so thankful. I thank God every single day that we said yes. I never look back. I always tell people if you knew what I knew and you had the experience that we've had here with LifeVantage, you would walk through a brick wall to get it and tell everybody that you know and love. And so tonight we're going to share with you what I saw all those years ago, but I'm so thankful because today we're living life on our terms. And I get emotional when I say this because Nick was able to walk away from full-time private chef, driving 2 hours to work every way, each way to work. And you guys, he was burnt out, stressed out, and all of the above. So the fact that he was able to walk away from doing what stressed him out so much, he had a passion for it. But yet, it was pretty much sucking his soul. And so, walking away, he was able to start his own business about 3.5 years ago. And now he is able to live life on his terms because we saw the vision 14 years ago. And so I never, like I said, I feel so honored and blessed and grateful to share our story because our story is still relevant today, you guys. When we saw this ABC investigative health report that we're going to play for you right now, I knew that there was something here. So we're going to play this quick video, then we're going to dive in, and I'm excited for you to hear from Jamie and Ray tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started, and let's dive in.
Every movement has a beginning. In 2005, that beginning stepped into the national spotlight when ABC Primetime explored a breakthrough in cellular health. What you're about to see points to where that journey begins and why it all starts with yellow.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig. Dr. McCord, okay. I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet world-renowned scientists. This is a pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Yeah, there we go.
Wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old. But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
35%. That's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease.
yes,
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression. But I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
The ABC primetime story wasn't the conclusion. It was the catalyst. What began as an investigative question led to multiple patents and years of ongoing peer-reviewed research. Research that has revealed findings even more profound than originally thought. Study after study has continued validating Protandim Nrf2 and expanding our understanding of what cellular activation can mean for optimal health. From Harvard to LSU to the National Institute of Aging, the story didn't stop, it deepened. What started as curiosity became conviction, a movement. Starting with yellow is just the beginning. There's more to explore. Because no one wants to look back years from now and wonder if they missed something this simple or this big. It all starts with yellow, but wait until you hear the rest of the story.
I love it. And that is not where our story ended. In fact, that's where our story began. And when I saw that video, that ABC Primetime Report 14 years ago, I literally, you guys, the hair on my arm stood up. I knew that there was something profound here. And if you think about this, if you actually dive into our research and science, and Jamie's going to actually kind of talk a little bit more about this, you'll see that we are so set apart in the wellness industry, you guys. Now, because the wellness space is so crowded, there's so many people out there sharing supplements and the next big thing. We have to have something profound to really make it in the wellness space. And truly, you guys, we have it. We have over 28 peer-reviewed studies, and after that clip aired in 2005, it caught the attention of major universities across the globe. And because of that, we have research that we can, really kind of go behind. We don't have to tell people why we think this is good for them. This is really set apart. You guys, we are pioneering activation technology. And I like to tell people ask yourself this, where would you be today if you were able to invest into like YouTube or Facebook back in the day? You guys, they were pioneering the way that people lived life, whether it's through technology. If you think about Airbnb and companies like VRBO, they really kind of pioneered the way that people travel across the globe. So I want to just encourage you. Jamie, like I said, is going to dive a little bit deeper into why we are so set apart. But our peer-reviewed research really kind of sets us apart in this space. So we're going to shift here a little bit, and we're going to talk about getting ahead of the curve, right? So we not only know that the wellness space has shifted dramatically, but we know that the way that people shop has shifted. And in fact, you've probably already hit that Amazon Prime button at least 2 or 3 times today. Let's not say maybe you have an addiction, maybe it's 10 or 15 times like myself. But truly, you guys, people right now, what people are doing is that they're shopping from their phones. And this is not a secret. In fact, down the road, they just shut one of the biggest malls here in Southern California because why? People have shifted the way that they're shopping. And what I love is that LifeVantage has not only given us a technology in the wellness space that we could be a part of, but they're really trying to teach us and really giving us the tools to be able to create income that isn't tied to our time. And we've been able to do that. In fact, I've been able to be a stay-at-home mom about 3 years into building this business full time, building my business from anywhere in the world, from my cell phone. And it's just a blessing. So, people are looking for ways to be able to leverage that. And maybe you're one of those people today thinking, I'm so burnt out. I have to go to work every single day. I have no passion. I have no enthusiasm for what I do. I envy those people that are able to work from anytime or anywhere, you guys. That is the beauty of this business opportunity. And Ray's going to cover a little bit more about, why this vision is so powerful and why we are able to shift the way that we live, not only through the way that we're helping people shop in their wellness, but also really helping people leverage their income. And it's unfortunate though, you guys, these statistics are very real. And we know that with inflation today, you guys, families are barely able to make ends meet. In fact, I heard a study or research coming out of here in Southern California that the average family of five needs to make close to $400,000 per year just to make ends meet. So, you guys, I know I live in one of the most expensive parts of the country, but this is a real statistic across the board, right? Across the globe in the US today, and even probably beyond because of inflation. So I want you to think about this. Most Americans have less, more or less in their savings account as last year. And then 400, most Americans couldn't even cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money from their credit card or their bank. So you guys, this is true. When Nick and I said yes all those years ago, we had $50 in our bank account. And we knew that if we kept doing the same thing over and over again and we didn't leverage our time and create multiple income streams, that we would still be in the same place 5 years later. And so we really saw the vision of that and it got me excited. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about the retail shift, why stores are no longer the middleman. And you guys, these shifts are powerful. And if anything that I've shared with you today so far has really kind of got you, get with the person that invited you and ask them a little bit more about the systems that we have and all of these incredible things that we've been able to create for the people that see this as a vision. So, with that being said, I'm excited to introduce to you Jamie Williams. She's a dear friend and incredible business partner. She's an executive consultant with LifeVantage, and she's going to dive a little bit deeper into the wellness shift and our incredible products. So, Jamie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. You guys, my heart just starts racing when I get a chance to speak about this because it feels like such an honor and a privilege to be able to bring this opportunity in front of all of you. Because at that time, everything that Jenny has shared with you, I didn't understand that 10 years ago when this video was shared with me, when this conversation happened with me. But when I look at these faces on the screen right now, I'm so incredibly grateful for that conversation because these people in my life right now are experiencing a different version of me and a different version of life because of what this has brought to my family. So my name is Jamie Williams. I'm a busy mom to 4 kiddos. Today was especially busy. My daughter is starting high school. We had high school orientation. My son is starting middle school. We had middle school orientation. And my twins start elementary school here this week. So a lot of things are happening. But when I say that, I'm so thankful because what this has provided me is a chance to be the mom that is there. There's a lot of people that are trying to find a way to do that. They're trying to find a way to create more time, to spend more time with the people that they love and care about, but also have the income, have the health, have everything that it takes to be the best they can be for their family. And 10 years ago, I had a conversation with a friend that changed everything for me because I was working as an exercise specialist in cardiac and pulmonary rehab, and I loved my job. I absolutely loved my job because my job was to be able to help people get back on track with their health. Now, here's what changed for me. I started to realize I had to wait until someone had a problem. I had to wait until someone had a crisis before I could have my chance to help them. And I don't know about any of you, but maybe you've had somebody that's undergone a major health journey. Maybe it's knocked them down, but not everybody bounces back. Sometimes it's too late to get them back to the recovery that you were hoping for. And when this was brought to me, I thought, oh my gosh, I watched that ABC investigative report and I thought, if this is even half true, this is such a big deal. Look at the preventative side of it. It just made so much sense to me that everybody needed to hear about it. And I knew nothing about business. I was all about the health. So that's why it's probably important for me to do a good job here so you guys understand. But when you saw that ABC investigative report, and they discussed what oxidative stress was, and they discussed the importance of it, of reducing it, you're starting to make sense of how can I get the edge when it comes to my health, because there is a wellness shift happening, and I'm thankful for it. I think some of it was born out of the pandemic. People were in a state of two things. They were either fearful of their health or they were confident in their health. But it created an awareness of what can I do to provide better support. So the fact that people are becoming more educated, they're understanding their biology better, they're willing to find solutions, you guys, because this is really what we're looking at, is people are running on empty. People are trying, they're burning the candle at both ends, really trying to make ends meet. Like Jenny said, those statistics are factual. People are struggling. But when you're financially struggling, that can cause a health crisis as well. So who wants to be broke, and who wants to feel exhausted? Who wants to just feel less than their best? Nobody. Nobody, which is why it's so important that we're having this conversation, because we can do things differently. We can find a better way, and we have the solution to so many things that people are looking for. You can see this entire suite of products. We're not going to cover all of them, but just know there's an opportunity for people to find the support that they're looking for when it comes to anti-aging, cellular health, skin health, gut health, weight management, just essential nutrients, all the things, healthy beauty, energy. That's what people are looking for, but it all started here. When we say it starts with yellow, it starts with that protandim NRF2. And what caught my attention, especially in the health space, like Jenny said, it's noisy out there. It's hard to know what's right, what's wrong, what works, what doesn't. But when you can say there's 28 peer-reviewed published studies on a product, that's unheard of. When we start to understand decades later, after that ABC investigative report aired, our story just got better. More validation, more proof, more understanding of what this product was capable of. And now when you look at what LifeVantage can do, we have been able to activate 5,000 genes in our human body that create health. That's incredible. Backed by patents, backed by clinical studies and validated research, and now taking that story into global markets. Like Jenny said, being able to run a business from wherever you are in the world, if you have a cell phone, if you have a mouth to have conversation, that's exactly how this works, is helping the person in front of you find a better way to create better health, to create more opportunity, whatever that looks like for you. Because I don't know what brought people here. I don't know if it was a financial thing. I don't know if it's a community thing or a health reason why. But here's what I will tell you. I was drawn into the science. I was drawn into the products. And I got way more than I asked for. I got everything beyond that, because it starts here, you guys. It starts with understanding that when you give yourself a solid foundation when it comes to cellular health, root cause wellness, not chasing symptoms, not trying to mask problems, but really trying to repair the human body. That's what protandim NRF2 can do. And that's what you saw in that ABC investigative report. When he said it's at the very center of every disease process, that when he started naming things, I was like, that's my dad. That's my family. Why would I not tell him that? Right? And what I've seen happen, I didn't understand, if I could just download what I've seen in the last 10 years into your brain so you can see what's possible, you never say no to this. People need to invest in their health. They need to invest in their future. And when you're talking about, this is something that is proven to extend life, because it delays the onset of disease and dysfunction, because it turns on your body's ability to create enzymes that protect its health, and reducing oxidative stress. Like he said, oxidative stress in 40% in 30 days. Everybody needs that, regardless of your age, regardless of your health condition, because it just makes sense looking at this. If you've ever cut open an apple and left it out, or you peeled a banana and left it out, what begins to happen? Over time, it starts to oxidize. That's essentially what's happening deep inside of our body, inside of our cells, and it's creating damage. And over time, it compounds. Some of us maybe live in an environment that's a little higher toxicity. Maybe we're not treating our bodies as well. We know that our food sources are becoming more filled with chemicals, unfortunately. So how do we help our bodies perform better? Well, you turn on what's called NRF2. And what I loved about this, and what captured my attention big time, was what Washington State University said about the health effects of what NRF2 is in your body. That's a natural pathway that we all have. So what did they say? They said the health effects of NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of health. Who would not want that? Who would not want to empower your body to do what it was designed to do and give it the boost so that you can create better health? Everybody needs that. What does it do? 5 natural ingredients, 5 herbs that are patented. It's a magic recipe. It's a synergy. It's patented multiple times over. But what it does is it gets deep inside the cell and flips that switch on that tells your body to make antioxidant enzymes like glutathione, SOD, catalase. If you guys are in the medical field and understand those, they are master antioxidant enzymes in your body. This turns your body's ability to make it on. So you're not taking it, you're not supplementing the body, you're empowering the body. So now you're boosting antioxidant production, which their job is to go up and clean up oxidative stress and the things that cause damage. And when I think of it like this, because I heard it this way, and I think it just makes so much more sense. When people have a lot of debt, they have a lot of bills. Does that create stress? When you don't have enough money to pay the bills? There's an imbalance. We have stress, we have debt. That's what happens inside of your body. You have high levels of oxidative stress and you don't have enough antioxidants to clean it up, you have stress. We want to get that back to balance. So you start layering in with protein and mineral 2, turning on that God-given pathway that protects your genes. Now you can layer. You can layer with some of these other products, and when you layer, you get an amplification of benefits. That's what's incredible, is now you can add extracellular support. You can look at gut peptides and helping your body create them. You look at healthy aging with liquid collagen. Guys, when you layer this, you look at what we are all looking for, performance and energy in your day-to-day. Axio is an incredible product. So it's not about making it complicated where to start. You start with yellow. But if you are looking for more benefit, you layer in the appropriate products, and you can get back with the person that invited you to this tonight to decide where's a great start, because most people love to start with the Healthy Glow Stack, which is Protandim and collagen. But you guys, when I look at that, my life has changed because of this. And when you look at this man right here and all these beautiful faces, you're going to hear this story of what this opportunity really can be. So when you think about what this could do, not only for your health, I hope to God that there was someone on your heart when you heard this today. When something that you heard right here struck you and you thought of somebody else, that's about paying it forward, paying forward the good deed. And look at what can happen. And you're going to hear it from Ray. So you guys, thank you for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Ray, who's an incredible friend. He's an incredible mentor, businessman, and obviously a family man. And that's what this opportunity has allowed him to be, an even better family man. So Ray, I'm going to let you take it away here.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, ladies. And, everybody on this call tonight, I want to thank you for, sacrificing some of your time to be here with us tonight. I'm a firm believer that when you know better, you have an obligation to do better. And that's exactly what we're doing here with LifeVantage. It's exactly what I've been doing here with my wife and I in our business for the last 13 years with LifeVantage. My name is Ray Allen. I'm an executive consultant 3. That's my family there, my wife and 8 children. We live just south of Charlottesville, Virginia, on our farm in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, where we homeschool our kids. And all together on the farm. Here we raise cows, beef, pigs, lambs, chickens, all the fun homestead stuff, big gardens, things like that. Talking about Jamie mentioning food being full of junk now. It's pretty cool to be able to do it and source your own food. We weren't always this way. My wife and I, we met at the Naval Academy, where we graduated from in 2009, and then we got engaged and married shortly thereafter. And then after we graduated, my wife became a Marine Corps officer and served for 5 years, but I became a Navy helicopter pilot and served for 11 years. So what that meant for us was we couldn't get stationed together until we were already married for 3.5 years, and our oldest daughter was 2 years old. And it might seem crazy, but I'm very grateful for that time apart very early on in life and very early on in our marriage, because it gave us valuable perspective that most people simply don't get. We were forced to be apart, but we had good income. We just didn't have our time together. So, it made us realize how truly important that time was. And we got married, obviously, because we loved one another and we wanted to raise a family together. And we were both honored to have served and played a part in that, but we knew it wasn't going to be, for the long run. It wasn't going to be a 20 or 30-year career here. So, we didn't look like we did in the last picture, 2013. We looked like we are, right here in this picture. Okay. When LifeVantage found us 13 years ago, I was getting ready to leave on a 10-month deployment, doing a very dangerous job, all around the world. So needless to say, I wasn't necessarily looking for, a distraction or a business. But we certainly were praying for a way to get our time back together. We were very sensitive to that. And I didn't really even know what to call it, or if it even was really a thing, or if it even existed. But really what I was looking for was leverage. I was looking for, a way to build an income stream that wasn't fully reliable and dedicated and taking my time. So really, I was looking for a way to compress time, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The only problem was I didn't have any particular skills. I'm not smart enough or interesting enough to write a book that people are going to buy for the rest of my life and pay me. I can't sing, so a record deal's not in the cards. I'm pretty average, with everything like golf. So I wasn't going to get like a sneaker deal, or Nike wasn't going to come give me anything like that. But I was looking for a business that would allow me to be with my family while serving others. And, LifeVantage has been the answer to that prayer for my family and so many others around the world. And after 11 years of service, I left the Navy in January 2020, right before everything got really weird, with no retirement income. But I had zero stress as to how I was going to keep a roof over our heads, keep the lights on, and feed my wife and at the time 5 children. And that's because we dug the well before we were thirsty with this business, and we had no business experience whatsoever. We were simply, you can go back, Jenny, for a minute. We were just, we didn't have any business experience. We were both healthy. I played lacrosse at Navy. My wife played soccer. So we weren't looking for a health fix. But when our friend and fellow Marine officer shared with us that ABC News reports, it just clicked for us. And we knew that not only were we going to take that little yellow pill for the rest of our lives, but this was going to be our vehicle to design life on our terms and bring this blessing to as many people as possible. Because right now, if you're on this call, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you are, there's someone in your life right now that you care very much about who's praying for an answer for better health, be it physically or financially. And, like I said, when I know better, I feel the obligation to do better. And that's what this movement's all about. So you can go next, Jenny. So really, when people do hear this information, they typically fall into one of two categories. The first, obviously, would be, I got to become a customer because that stuff is amazing. You can stand on the science of giants like LSU, Harvard, Ohio State, tons of research. And most people, when they hear that, they think it's obviously a no-brainer. I want to use these products. Very easy to get involved. Get with whoever invited you to be here. You're going to get a 10% savings. I highly recommend that you start with the very bare minimum, that little yellow pill, Protandim NRF2. It's the most important thing you can put in your body. But like Jamie said, you can pair that and layer that and get more benefits. The next most important thing I would say is that NRF1, that is going to activate your cellular health and activate your mitochondria. So think about that, the energy of the cell. Even better, if you can stack on one more thing, I wouldn't go a day without this. I've drinking it every single day since October 2014 when it launched. It is an absolute game changer. Those three will change your life if you do it daily. On top of that, the True Science Liquid Collagen, I hate to even call it a beauty product because what it does inside to our body, which has so much collagen in our organs and our joints and our ligaments, as a former athlete and military officer, beat my body up for a long time. I can tell you that it is amazing stuff. If it's doing that on the outside for these people, imagine what it's doing for the inside of these guys, this lady and this man's body. It's absolutely amazing. And if you can layer this on there, more power to you. You will not regret it. So you can go next, Jenny. The next of those two categories you're going to fall in. If you saw this information, you thought, yeah, I'm going to take this product for the rest of my life. It's a no-brainer. But also, if you thought, well, you know what, I'm going to take it, but my buddy Joe needs to hear about this. Mark needs to hear about this. Jamie needs to hear about this. Mary needs to hear about this. If you're starting to make those connections and, connect those dots and think about other people, about how you can pay this forward, then you may want to consider becoming a consultant. That's what we all are. So some incredible consultant perks. You're going to get a better discount of products. The beauty about this business is, instead of LifeVantage paying millions of dollars upfront for, ad share and, getting word out there through traditional marketing channels and paying all that money upfront for ads and hopefully get a back end conversion of a customer. Instead of doing that, they simply pay people like me, Jenny, Jamie, and consultants all over the world for moving our lips and sharing this blessing. And they pay very, very well. Some other really cool things the company does along the way here that corporate offers, incentive trips, traveled all over the world, Ireland, Mexico, South Africa. I've been all over the place with the company and some of the best friends in the world that I've, made through this. There's no income gap. My first year by year 6, we're on the way to replace my income as a Navy helicopter pilot. By year 7, we had doubled it. By year 8, we had tripled it. So what I want to talk about here, earlier I mentioned what I was looking for was a way to create leverage and really to compress time. And here's what I mean by that. Okay. So As a publicly traded company, we're required to release all of these figures. You'll see on the left, the commissions paid to consultants and the average monthly commissions paid at each rank throughout the company. Rank, just think about it, there's more volume, more product moving through your organization, being sold and making it to the happy customer's hands. So you can just go through some of these ranks here. Consultant 2, about 100 extra bucks a month. Senior consultant 1, up to 300 bucks a month. Managing consultant 1, $1,700 a month. And by the way, no one's quitting their job at those ranks. Okay, people are still doing this in concurrently with what they are currently doing. My wife and I, during our time in LifeVantage, from 2013 to when we exited with no income from the military in a period of 7 years, through multiple deployments, having a bunch of kids, homeschooling, gone all the time. We are very, very busy people, guys. We were able to build up to, if you can see the rank of executive consultant 1. Okay, it took us 7 years doing all the crazy busy things we were doing, deployments all over the world, bunch of kids, homeschooling. We were able to create an asset that was paying us $15,000 a month. Okay, now what does that actually mean? That means, shift your eyes to the column on the right. That means that in a period of 7 years, we were able to create an asset worth about $2 million, paying us about 10% interest. So was I going to be able to put $2 million away into an account or an investment that was going to turn back 10%, $16,000 a month in that 7 year period as an active duty military officer, doing all the busy stuff I was doing? No. In the busy nooks and crannies of our life, sharing this blessing and paying it forward, we were able to create an asset worth $2 million. You don't have to stop there. We kept going. Okay. I highly recommend you do, just like everybody else on this call, I'm sure. But bottom line, figure out a number that makes sense with you and you get involved with this, work with your team and figure out the number you need to be making each month. And let's reverse engineer this thing. It's simply a math problem. Then we can figure out what kind of work you got to do to make that happen. So that's what I mean by being able to compress time. You can go next, Jen. You go next slide. So, where do you get into this, guys? I highly recommend, bottom line, when you know better, you have an obligation to do better. And you now have the opportunity to answer people's prayers, whether it be for their better health or better finances. You can offer them that opportunity, okay? But where do you get in? You got to get in where you fit in. I mean, technically, you can get involved with the $50, start kit to have a website. But I wouldn't recommend that. I don't recommend doing anything out of integrity. When we came into this business, we wanted to know what we were going to be using. So we wanted to develop an experience with every product we had. There's also a million of us in my family. My wife and I have 8 kids, so we were going to use everything anyway. We needed a lot of stuff. So we came in with the highest pack at the time because we wanted to start developing stories and know what we were actually talking about out of integrity. But there's a space for everybody to come in here. As I know, everybody has limitations of what they can invest to get started, but there are multiple levels. Bottom line, get in where you fit in. And guys, like I said before, right now in your life, there is somebody you know and love and care very much about who's praying for solutions, whether it be in their physical health or their financial health. It is a very weird time and crazy time. Families are struggling, and you now have the information that can help everyone around you, okay, in pretty much every aspect of life. You can go next, Jenny. So, I don't typically like to say this, but you kind of have a problem, right? Because now you know about this information. You're going to come across somebody probably in the next week or so in a conversation, just general life, that you're going to say, man, I could help this person with what I know about. So bottom line is, guys, we'd love to have you join us here in the movement. Like I said, when you know better, you have an obligation to do better. Get in where you fit in, but definitely get back with whoever invited you here tonight. Get all of your questions answered, because right now someone's praying for the information that you now know about that. So go out there and bless the world. God bless everybody. Get back with who invited you, and take care.